Thanks, Kevin. Since you mentioned a lot about Realbox, so it's kind of like make me curious. So Alex, can you tell us a little bit about?
Just a disclaimer: we didn't pay him to talk about Realbox.
But it's gonna slip some money
much.
later, right? And then what makes it special in a way? Yeah.
Nói tiếng Việt ha. Yeah. Ok. Thì thực ra anh Kevin nói rất là đúng á. Thực ra xin phép quay lại cái câu chuyện ở Dubai á. Hồi mà Khôi đi qua Dubai á, nó vui ở chỗ là mình đi vô cái khán phòng đông luôn. Nhưng mà mình nghe 3 thứ tiếng. Thứ nhất là mọi người nói tiếng Anh, cái thứ hai là mọi người nói tiếng Russian, tiếng Nga, và cuối cùng là thấy toàn tiếng Việt không à. Wow, dân Việt Nam nếu mà bay qua đó là nguyên cái máy bay là toàn là dân Việt Nam không à, có lông nữa nè. Anyway, thì Việt Nam là một trong những nước mà rất là innovative, mọi người ứng dụng blockchain rồi crypto, mọi người rất là hào hứng. Thì không biết suy nghĩ tại sao lại như vậy ta. Thì Khôi xin phép kể một cái câu chuyện cách đây khoảng 7 năm. Thì hồi đó mình đang ở nước ngoài, mình có về Việt Nam.
Câu chuyện này 3 phút thôi nha.
3 phút thôi, ok. Rồi xong rồi, câu chuyện xong. Về Việt Nam mua cái miếng đất, cái xong rồi có cái nhà nữa anyway. Thì bên môi giới họ làm giấy tờ xong hết rồi, họ chuyển cái sổ qua, anh Khôi ơi em làm xong rồi. Cái mình mở cái sổ đỏ mình thấy ủa đâu phải tên anh đâu. Dạ không phải, anh phải lật cái trang sau nè, trang sau mới là cập nhật tên anh, tại vì mỗi lần thay sổ tốn tiền lắm, em cập nhật thôi cho nó lẹ. Mình mở ra mình thấy khoảng 20 cái giao dịch, 20 cái cập nhật. Thì mình mới nghĩ chứ, tại vì làm sổ mới rất là tốn nên cập nhật, mai mốt anh bán nên chỉ cần cập nhật là được. Thì mình nghĩ wow, this is how blockchain can be applied, right? Cái tức là cơ bản là Việt Nam là một trong những nước ứng dụng blockchain đầu tiên vào bất động sản, đúng không? Nước ngoài phải qua đây học hỏi nè. Đó là một cái cách mà blockchain có thể ứng dụng vào bất động sản, là nó giúp cho mình truy xuất được nguồn gốc của cái bất động sản này là ai, là người bán, rồi nó đi qua tay bao nhiêu người. Cái thứ hai nữa, có thêm chuyện nữa nha. Cái thứ hai nữa là ở Việt Nam á, mà mấy người đi mua nhà á, bây giờ muốn biết cái nhà này có vấn đề gì không, có bị quy hoạch không, giá nó là bao nhiêu, bố mẹ nó là ai, có bị ăn trộm không, đố biết hỏi ai? Đúng rồi, hỏi hàng xóm, hỏi cái bà bán nước á, hỏi bà bán nước ở đầu ngõ đó là tốt nhất. Đừng hỏi chính quyền nha, chính quyền là người duy nhất mà không biết giá căn nhà này là bao nhiêu. Ông sở thuế là người thứ hai không biết giá căn nhà, nhưng hỏi bà bán nước chắc chắn ra. Bây giờ chúng ta tưởng tượng là chúng ta có khoảng 30 bà bán nước ngồi ở đầu đường á, 30 bà đảm bảo thị trường đó là thị trường minh bạch nhất. Đảm bảo thị trường nó minh bạch nhất, tại vì tất cả mọi người đều chia sẻ thông tin, ai cũng biết một chút. Blockchain là như vậy, blockchain là mỗi một cái node nó share information và we all own the information. No one, government không phải là người own information nữa. Xin lỗi nha, ở đây không có ai làm government đúng không? Government sẽ bị bãi bỏ, mà những người bán nước sẽ là người có quyền lực nhất. Đó, và chúng ta là những người được hưởng lợi từ những người như vậy. Thì blockchain á, ở Việt Nam mình quay lại câu chuyện tại sao chúng ta lại thích áp dụng blockchain là từ thị trường Việt Nam chúng ta á, là cái thị trường mà nó chưa đạt đến cái ngưỡng mature. Nếu mình qua Mỹ, qua Úc á, thì information á, là government họ keep rất là kỹ và họ chia sẻ với người dân. Ở Việt Nam mình không được chia sẻ, nên bản thân chúng ta phải gộp lại, chúng ta phải chia sẻ lẫn nhau. Thì đó là cái lợi của blockchain. Mà những nước như Việt Nam nè, như Russia nè, như Brazil nè, như the Philippines nè, người dùng của mình đến từ Philippines rất là nhiều, đến từ Nga, từ Brazil rất là nhiều, và Việt Nam là nước thứ ba. Còn Mỹ, Úc thì họ lại, Mỹ cũng nhiều nha, nhưng mà những cái nước Phạm Á Chiết rồi người ta đã có chính quyền lo rồi, thì họ lại không chơi cái này nhiều. Nhưng mà tôi nghĩ là blockchain nếu mà chúng ta ứng dụng tốt á, thì Việt Nam chúng ta sẽ là một trong những cái nước mà đi đầu và rất là có lợi cho người dân, đặc biệt là trong cái ngành mà nó thiếu cái tính minh bạch như là ngành bất động sản.
Thank you. Well, I just got a note here, guys, that more English, please, with a smiley face. So I guess to be fair for our English speaking audience tonight, in the way that I just want to ask you a follow-up question in terms of, because you mentioned about real estate tokenization, right? So that's a new way of investing. Now we're talking about investment, right? So what are to you, pros and cons for real estate investing in a traditional way and in a tokenization technology? Yeah.
I think Long has explained it very clearly. So real estate, there are two components of real estate, right? So one is the real estate itself, and the other one is all the rights associated with the real estate. So in real estate, when you own a piece of real estate, you have three primary rights, right? So usage, you have like decision, you have whatever the other one. So when you talk about tokenizing a piece of real estate, we have to be clear that we're not tokenizing the physical assets. We don't buy an asset and then we're just going to break it down into like small 1 square meter and we're going to sell it to everyone. It doesn't work like that. We're actually tokenizing the economic value of that assets, right? So economic value coming from the rents of the property. You're going to have a cash flow going forward. You're going to have the when you sell the property down the path, then the cash come back. That's what you can tokenize, and that's a good way for people to get into real estate. You don't have to buy the entire one, but you buy a piece of that rights to the assets, right? And I think Vietnam is in a perfect position to do it, because if you listen to the government is talking about like how can we cram down speculation in the property market. And if you explain to them the reason why we have a lot of speculation in the real estate market is because you have this conflict of interest between the real user of the asset and the investors, right? If it's like going on the road and you have like the cars going the same side with the bikes, you gonna have traffic jam. So in Vietnam, if you are an investor in real estate, the only way for you to invest in it is you have to buy physically the assets, and then you will compete with people who actually use it. And a lot of investors don't have a long-term view or long-term use of the asset. They can come in, if prices go up, they sell it, or if prices are not going up, they're just going to leave it there. They don't do anything with it, right? They leave the land empty, or they leave the building empty. They wait until prices go up again. So how can we reduce that speculation in the market, because it's bad? People who want to use it can't use it because the owner doesn't want to use it. So one way is to separate the two usage. So one is the usage value. We'll give it to people who want to use it long term, right? And they have stability, they can invest, they can use it long term. And then you separate the other type of people who are the investors, right? Who will come in and out anytime they want, okay? So they don't have any issue affecting the reuses of the assets. That's how you can reduce speculation in the real estate market. We do it very well with the stock market, with equity. We separate the ownership of the shares and the management of the company, right? We can do the same with real estate as well. That's how you can give more, we reduce speculation, we can give more power to the investors, but also the real users of the assets.
Thanks for the answer. I'm just gonna switch gear a little bit, talking about community, because I personally run like a platform for female community, and we talk about investing and saving and be more financial savvy. So this question is for Long. I believe that as a community builder's point of view, I believe that you are vice president for Vietnam Blockchain Union. Then, what do you think about the challenge in the process of utilizing or applications of blockchain technology?
About the challenge, I think that there'll be 4 main challenges. Each challenge will go with the opportunity, so I will talk both, and then I will tell about how VBU, our organization, try to overcome all of the challenges. The first thing is about the government. The challenge is that not only Vietnam but almost all the countries, blockchain is always in a gray area. They cannot make it too risky to do anything for the people. So first thing is because government don't settle everything firmly for everybody to invest into it and protect them the right way. So it's a risk thing to for the community to join. They don't have the protection from the government. Some government just like just like El Salvador, they're too risky. Okay, so I think that about this one, the challenge, also the opportunities. Vietnam, I think Vietnam is a sweet spot in the world for the blockchain, for the cryptocurrency, because I think that for a kite to fly, we need 2 things. The first thing is strong wind. The kite fly against the wind, right? So we have the win, just like opportunity to for the future. But the second thing that keep the kite fly is the string. Without the string, the kite cannot fly. So if you cut the string, the sky cannot fly anymore. And I think that in Vietnam, the government now is a very good string. It let the kite fly, but they don't cut the string, just like El Salvador. It's too risky. So the first challenge, but opportunities, is the government. The second factor is I say that the investor, the people in the country. Let's say that in Vietnam, we have a kind of, I'm very proud that Vietnamese have one of the most active communities in the world about, when I joined Dubai, 10 section, 8 section talk about Vietnam. Yeah, because and we're proud that we have the kind of top 3 powerful community of investors in the world. But that create opportunities as well as challenge at the same time. Opportunities that we have the financial, the attention enough to draw all the attention from the blockchain community and startups, so we can build bigger thing. But the bad side of that, the downside of that is that the communities of investors in Vietnam not mature. They just speculate and they vary. They not have they're not a real investor. So they put money very easy into a lot of Ponzi. Yeah. And that create bad reputation for another one. And when the market is down, they put a lot of not very smart comment to all the project, including the dry project. Mm-hmm. So the money is big, but it go into the wrong way, the wrong place, and create a bad pressure for the good project. Yeah. They don't have, they cannot clarify which one is the Ponzi, which one is the good one. The third thing is the technology. I think that in Vietnam we have young population. Mm-hmm. And Vietnamese people have some advantages in technology, just like we have a lot of developer here, many good developer. So it creates is an advantage for companies in Vietnam to develop many kind of projects in blockchains. And one more thing, we have the ecosystem, because the labor cost is really slow. Yeah. So when we have a project, they'll be very cheap for the marketing people to put it into the moon. Kind of, if you live in Americas, you cannot pay 100 people to seal a project. But that would be easier in Vietnam, because community kind of, they can do something just like $1, $2. But in
what's the fourth one? The fourth challenge.
The fourth challenge is the ecosystem also. Okay. Yeah, the Vietnamese people have a high ego. Mm. We're very difficult to collaborate with each other. Mm-hmm. Which one of the most important thing in blockchain world, because every is a big world. So in video we have a solution for all the things. We have education and to training and to make the level of them, and we have a kind of alliance, the round table to connect people kind of.
Thank you for that. On the note of community, this is really a personal interest to learn about what Binance is doing, and this is the question for Kelvin. I believe you are APAC growth manager for Binance, and I believe last year we have about 6 million crypto users entering into the market. It's actually a very impressive numbers, and it's actually more than the number of stock accounts that are being opened for many years in Vietnam. So what is the plan for Binance to in terms of building a community, a Vietnamese community here in Vietnam, and what kind of support you can provide in terms of maybe evaluating good projects onto the platform?
Yes. So thank you. Many people know about Binance as an exchange, and yes, we are. So today we still have the largest trading volume on our exchange compared to any others. In many of the markets that we compete, we usually in the top 1 or top 3. So the benefit about having a great community and a large number of users is that the slippage fee, so the fee where we quote the token is cheaper than our competitors, and we can charge a lower fees because more people trading more. Basically, we don't need to charge higher fees compared to our competitors. And also we have a very one of the most complete, if not the most complete, blockchain ecosystem. So we have BNB. Ethereum is the first programmable blockchain, really, but one of the issue is large gas fee, transaction fees. So if you trade on it, for a retail investor to pay, a 30, 50, or even $100 on Ethereum is really, quite a bit. On Binance Chain, if you build your project on it, the gas fee is really low. I guess that's why we have so many projects on Binance Chain. Today we still have more projects than any others and more user and transactions. And for example, if we have a fund $1 billion to support projects built on BNB. So imagine we pay projects, good projects, to build your product on the layer 1 blockchain BNB. So as an example, for example, Realbox, we talk about lower fees, tokenization, fractionalization. But if you charge user a lot of fees for every transaction they trade, we don't want to go to Realbox, right? So lower transaction fees is also one of the key points. And secondly, we have a whole blockchain ecosystem, So that help user, today they can open a Binance account very easily in a few minutes. You top up your money, and then you buy token and, any projects on the Binance Smart Chain. So that's how we grow very fast. We have whole ecosystem. The fee is lower. Community is always there. Trust. We've been around for many, many years. We got license in France, European Union. Macron, who was the president, after he got a second term, immediately he approved our license. And we also have our license in different countries. We can talk about Dubai, where the government is very open to ask company, crypto company around the world to come and open headquarters and license. We are one of the first, if not the first, to have a license in Dubai. So I think these are the things, we have our best product, trust, community, lower fees. You build projects on our chain. We have fun for you. And we also have Binance Lab, which is a private equity wing of Binance. We help company who is strong company, but who hasn't applied blockchain so much into the business model. Another $1 billion fund there to help and invest in this company and help them to blockchainize the business model.
Just wanted to double confirm, the 1 billion is only for Vietnam market, or is it's actually shared in the region?
It is. So Binance has always been global. We serve 100 over countries, but so far Vietnam has always a very important market for Binance. We are the number 1 in this market, of course. And also there are many projects who have been listed, launchpad on Binance. Axie Infinity, a very successful project, and we work closely. And it's not just about like listing on an exchange, Axie Infinity got hacked, right, $250 million. We basically got a consortium of investors in, and then refund $65 million, 25% of that. We invest a lot more into Axie even after the hack. And that showed our commitment to community and the projects that we build on the whole ecosystem, from projects, exchange, BNB chain. A few other projects also listed on Binance, and there are moments, the valuations, we can get over $1 billion. Coin 98, for example, another project.
Thank you. I'm not sure how we do in time, but maybe đây là cái cơ hội mà cho các bạn hay là các anh chị có thể là đặt câu hỏi với lại panelist để mà mình stir up một chút. Thấy mọi người bắt đầu có vẻ buồn ngủ rồi, phải không? Thì ai có bất kỳ cái câu hỏi nào cho panelist thì có thể là giơ tay, rồi mình sẽ chạy tới, mình có người chạy tới đưa micro cho mọi người hỏi, đúng không? Hoặc là kể cả among the panelists, if you guys have like questions for another panelist, please feel free to do so. Không biết là trong audience của mình ngày hôm nay có ai có câu hỏi cho các panelists ngày hôm nay hay không? Ở đây. Để mà công bằng thì chắc là mời mọi người đặt cho mỗi panelist một câu hỏi nha. Ở dưới.
Thank you.
Anh kế tiếp.
Okay. Oh, yeah, thank you. I would like to ask Mr. Alex Pham. So I would like to ask about how can we, for example, we know that the real estate increased significantly throughout the years. So how can we distribute and determine the value of each person holding the token or part of that property?
When you tokenize an asset, there are two markets we're talking about here. So one is the asset market, and the other one is the token market, right? So for the asset prices, the prices are determined by supply and demand on the asset market. So we have buyers and seller coming to negotiate on the prices, then you have the asset price. On the token markets, it works the same. So you have buyer and seller of the tokens negotiating on the token prices. These two prices are not necessarily have to move in tandem. They don't have to be the same. So at the initial offering, they might be the same, but once you release it to the markets, token prices can move, up and down, deviate from the asset markets. Okay, but over the medium to long term, they should move in the same direction. However, in the short term, because in the token markets, the information that investors have is a lot more efficient. So people absorb information a lot faster than people in the asset market. So from an economic point of view, the token markets dictates and reflects the information a lot faster compared to the asset markets. But over the long term, they should move in tandem. But over the short term, they might deviate. However, if they're different, there are opportunities for arbitrageurs. So people who come in, if you see that the token price are too low, below the asset price, you can come in, you can buy it, and you arbitrage on the difference. And vice versa, if the token price is too high, you can arbitrage on the difference between the two as well. But the only invisible hand that will determine the prices will be the supply and demand. Okay. Can I add something? Do I have enough? 3 minutes?
Yeah.
About valuation, because I put my hat on. As a valuer for real estate for 11 years, what I can tell is that when people come to me and said, how do you value this building, right? And a lot of people will start putting the textbook and say, look, I'm going to compare these three assets in the same vicinity, blah, blah, blah. You see the same textbook, right? But it's so wrong. Okay? In valuation, fair market value is not about the three assets next to your asset. No textbook ever tell you how to value an asset like that. The only way you can know the true value of an asset is that you need a willing buyer, a willing seller. Both of them have to absorb enough information about the property, and they have enough time to make their decisions. Okay, that's how market value is determined. So in order to get the right and the correct value of an asset, the only way you can do it is to allow for a willing buyer and a willing seller to meet each other and make decision on the market. And hence the importance of people like Binance, who create efficient, transparent markets where buyer and seller are coming together and agree on the price. That's the market value should be, not how us or the valuer is going to put it on, comparing the three assets.
Does that answer your question? Okay, we have the next person here. Nhờ anh hỏi câu hỏi cho anh Hoàng đi. Được
Yeah,
không?
good evening.
Hoàng ngồi cũng
How
hơi
do
buồn
you
ngủ rồi đó.
tokenize travel experience?
I didn't do it. Yes, good evening, everyone. And my question is all about the financial inclusion. I know that recently Vietnam Blockchain Unions has been established. So why you do what you're doing, and how can you help the weak entrepreneur and passionate entrepreneur to achieve their dream due to the certain uncertain regulation in Vietnam? And also for Realbox, for blockchains, I believe on the financial inclusion and serve the underserved markets rather than the well-served for existing market by the banks. So why you're doing what you're doing, and how do you help these people to achieve their dream? Thank you.
Thì cái câu hỏi đầu tiên dành cho Long nha. Long có thể
Okay, thank you for your question. So let me see. Is the answer that continue the thing I already talked last time. So there'll be 4 challenges. Vietnam Blockchain Union is not the first union or alliance I created. The first one is kind of 4 years ago. It's the first alliance of blockchain. It's called the Vietnam Blockchain Hub Alliance 4 years ago. It's with 30 organizations, just like Coin 98, Coin 68, blah blah. Because at that time we realized that blockchain is a big thing. No one can do everything. For a project to be to grow, it needs the support from the exchange, from the capital, from the tech, from many things, from an ecosystem. But the window of the 3 years ago is too long, so we restart again with Vietnam Blockchain Union, and it will show some specific problem. The first one is the policy, the government, the challenge. The first challenge I told, we try to help the government, to consult them with good policy. We provide them with the case study from other countries, just like Singapore or Estonia, blah blah, to propose some mini sandbox. Our ambition is that for maybe by the end of this or next year, we can propose good mini sandbox that help the project startup in Vietnam. In the future, we hope that founder just like you and me, we can create company in Vietnam instead of Singapore or other countries, and that's the first thing, to build a bridge to the government, because we cannot deny that the government is the one of the biggest factor. Okay. The second thing is the investor. Let's say that it's not mature. That's why we have a lot of training. We connect with almost all of the good specialists in Vietnam and all around the world. Kind of University of Sung Sien in Korea, and many good reputation professor all around the world to provide a good training for the developer and training for the investor, so they will be more mature in the future. So if we can create a good investor level and developer, we can provide good kind of money flow to the ecosystem and good kind of developer who build a better technology. Okay, and the next thing is that we try to create a program to educate in the more community, just like we can collaborate with VTV to create some program just like Shark Tank, and to educate people more about blockchain. And last one, we create some program named kind of alliance, blockchain alliance roundtable, which we invite some of the best organization player in town to join weekly or monthly to talk about how to help each other first and how to help the ecosystem. We believe that together we can do better than just one people. Okay.
Thank you. We're running out of time. I'm not sure if any last question for. Okay, I need to check with you. Who do you want to ask? You cannot ask Alex and Long anymore.
Okay. It can be a general question, but
okay.
Tokenizing real estate, it can arise legal issues like security tokens. It can be placed under the current law of security. So how do you manage and handle those legal issues when you tokenize real estate?
Binance. No, I think this is for Binance.
This is Binance. Okay.
It's for Binance.
Binance.
You're the best guy to answer it.
No, but Binance actually do not tokenize any, you know. You got a token, we got you listed on our exchange. Okay? Yeah,
Yeah.
but we invest in company. We invest in company.
You guys
who-
should really focus
Yes.
on that $1 billion and yeah. Okay.
Can maybe let me answer it this
Cho
way. So
Alex 2 phút nha.
okay, sorry. Counter. Yes, there are issues at the moment. Countries like Vietnam, they don't. First of all, they don't recognize digital assets as an asset yet. So yes, there'll be issue. However, what you can do is not tokenizing the ownership of the assets. As long as explained, you have 3 rights. Right? You have right to lease, right to whatever you call it. So you can tokenize those rights instead of tokenizing the ownership. So the people who purchase these tokens don't have full ownership, and they don't have any ownership at all. You need to explain to the token holders very clearly. You don't have ownership at all on the asset, but you do have the ability to take part in the share of the cash flow of the assets, plus the ability to make decision on the assets when you want to sell it or not. Okay, but on a paper, on the we call it the red book, your name won't be there. Your name won't be there. So it's all going to come down to the smart contracts and the trust between the two parties.
Okay, vậy
No,
thì
so
để
hold on, there's a
yeah.
quick question here. So if my name on the red contract, right, and I sell that piece of land, take real money, you as the owner of the right, how do you enforce that? I have to share that, you know.
No,
piece
you
of
don't. You don't have to do anything. You receive the fiat, the money.
Yep.
You have to transfer your ownership to a separate entity. So the way it works is that companies who manage it will have to establish a what we call an SPV, a special purpose vehicle, or an LLC, limited partnership. That partnership or limited company will owns the assets. Okay, you no longer are the owner of the asset because you received the money already. So the ownership will be transferred to that separate entity, and that entity will have to be kept in a trustee. So in Vietnam, the way that investment funds do, like the like of Ascenders or whatever investment funds, who they raise money in Singapore. When they come here, they have to set up a local entity who will own the asset physically and locally, and that asset will have to be managed by a trustee. So in Vietnam, the trustee are usually the bank, who will keep the paperwork of the assets, and they're also going to control the cash flow of the assets. In addition, you also are going to need the auditor, right? You need one of the big 4 auditors who will audit it, and you need compliance as well. So that's how you do it. So the ownership of the asset will be set in that trustee. A bank in Vietnam or overseas, we have a lot of trustees companies that will keep the asset for you. Yeah.
Thank you for that. Vậy thì thôi để cho Mina dành cái quyền có cái câu hỏi cuối cùng cho anh Hoàng nha. Tại vì cũng để wrap up, và cái chủ đề của ngày hôm nay là blockchain, thì mình vẫn nói về những cái giá trị của blockchain, giống như là Mr. Huân cũng đã nói ban đầu, nêu một vài cái giá trị lớn của blockchain. Thì trong những cái về cái phương diện mà cá nhân của anh, hình như là mình là dân công nghệ đúng không? Thì dù là mình chưa có áp dụng những cái blockchain trong những cái gì mà mình đang làm á, nhưng mà đối với anh thì cái giá trị nào của blockchain là có thể về xu hướng và anh nghĩ là sẽ consider để mà áp dụng trong tương lai?
Alright, disclaimer, I don't do anything with blockchain, so so I was just invited. But personally, yes, on a technology standpoint, right, it has its pros and cons. You guys, most of you are developer, don't need to talk about it anymore. But from my point of view, it's especially on hospitality. There's the moment I do it is the moment I find a good use case. So that is a very important point. And actually, recently, there's actually a customer of us who came to us, and they have a very good use case of using NFT as a way to tokenize a booking. So imagine like this, right? You buy a hotel room in, let's say, September the 2nd of 2025. So 3 years from now. I mean, if you buy it now, it's going to be quite cheap, right? Yeah. And so you plan way ahead. Now, come 2025, you can't go. You cannot sell that booking because right now it's actually linked to you, all right? So it's going to be hard. And most of the time, the hotel will charge you a fee and things for that. So the idea is, they actually NFTize that night, okay, to become a token. So you can use it, or you can actually sell it. And since you buy it way before, right? You bought it at a pretty cheap price, and then come 2025, you can actually sell it with a better price. So there's actually a market for that. So from our hospitality standpoint, I think it's a very interesting way to apply blockchain. Okay. So as I say, right, I don't talk about technology, the pro and cons, but I think that's a really good use case. And so that would be something that we will look into is how can we, look at NFT as a confirmation of booking so that they can book and imagine this one night, we imagine like 200 nights because every single hotel, you always have about 20% of occupancy that you don't use, right? So that 20% occupancy become a huge market. You can pre-buy it and then you sell it and become an exchange. You can sell your one night in Phú Quốc to another night in Phan Thiết or something like that. So I'm kind of get excited about that.
Can I add something? I think
Now
there
you
are a
have to
lot of
pay
use
for-
cases. Yeah, sorry.
Now you have to pay
I'm
for
going to
it.
buy one night. I think there are so many cases for you because in blockchain tokenization, anything that you want to share with people, you can use blockchain or and tokens, right? So what if I'm going to buy from you like 360 days use of your hotel, and I would love to share it with 360 other people? Or I can even share it by the hours, right? Because I know that some people only need it by the hours. So how about I buy the entire days and then I can resell it by the hours and then make money in between. First thing. Second thing, any risks that you want to share with people, you can blockchain it, you can NFT it. So the risk of, say, if I'm going to buy the hotel room in advance, I'll get cheaper rates. Comes the closer dates, the price might go up, right? But there's always the possibility of losing that because price might not go up. So instead of having all the risks to myself, I can share with like 1,000 other people and say, look, you guys want to invest in these tickets with me at a cheap rates, right? And then if we have a profit, we're going to share. If we lose it, we lose together. Everyone's going to lose $1. That's it. I think there's so many use cases for you. Yeah, I'll buy some hotel
We'll
nights
see.
and share with everyone.
Thank you so much. Yeah, so that wraps up our session for tonight. Thank you so much for participating in the panel discussion. And I look forward to more networking with you guys later, okay?
If you don't find it interesting, there'll be wine there, so you can have more drinks and you'll find our speech more interesting.
Thank you.
Thank you everyone for attending our event tonight. Once again, we would like to thank our generous sponsor for their wonderful support, Realbox, Binance, and PropTown. Look forward to our next gathering at PropTech Vietnam Summit on June 30th.
Dạ vâng, mình sẽ có một cái gọi là PropTech Vietnam Summit vào 30 tháng 6. Thì hy vọng là các anh chị có thể quan tâm và cùng connect với cộng đồng một lần nữa. Website là proptechvietnam.com. Thank you everyone for coming and support.